Hello, everybody, and welcome to our ninth session of our lovely Vampire the Masquerade V5 Chronicle, Terreur, Vertu. I am Beck. I will be your storyteller for this evening's session. And before we get into it tonight, we'll get our lovely group members to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Adam. I'll be playing Remy, your Sabat Malkavian.
I'm Jack. I will be playing Madame la Comtesse de Visage, the Camarilla Toreador.
Hi, I'm Syrinx. I'll be playing Mayel Cadieux, the Gangrel Anarch.
Lovely. Now, where we left off at the ending of our last session, a fiery exchange between Mayel and her sire, Caius, after she brought her younger blood brother, Jean-Baptiste Tellier, to her haven. Her sire managed to track him and her down, finding her there, where he tried to renew the blood bond that he has been secretly enforcing with her for many, many years, making her forget after this happens. But this time Mayel managed to overcome her sire's machinations, and in a brutal exchange of fists, both of them becoming seriously injured, she floored him, put him in torpor. We open up on this scene as the night comes to a close, with Jean-Baptiste Tellier down in the sort of splayed out guts of Caius, the two kindred's sire, drinking as he wakes up from torpor that Mayel put him in not too long ago. You hear him guzzling at the blood that is sort of pouring out from Caius's wound, waking up slowly. He doesn't seem to be out of control of himself, Mayel, in this moment. And after what seems like a long time, but is only perhaps a minute or two, he's sort of covered, drenched in the blood of your sire, rolls back onto his knees, looks down, sort of out of it, seemingly not even aware that you are there, or where he is, or anything aside from himself and the sire that lies down beneath his feet.
After he rolls back, I will immediately go to him and take the scruff of his shirt and kind of pull him up by it.
Mayel.
Yeah, great. You recognize me.
Of course.
I'm giving you one chance to leave the city, Ellie. Quick reminder of what had just happened. I put you in torpor. I got you out of the middle of your fucking haven with all of the people surrounding you, and I took you here. No one made a sound. You just got dragged here and put in torpor. I'm being gentleman right now, trying to put the past behind us and giving you a chance to live again. Yeah, you can see the surroundings. This could be you on the floor if you don't leave. One chance, you leave France. We never see each other again. You never set foot in France again. If you do, the past won't be behind us, and I will maul you to death like I just did to our sire. One chance, Jean-Baptiste.
I'm going to get you to roll manipulation intimidation. Against his composure resolve.
Do I get an extra dice by the fact that the sire is literally mauled on the ground?
I'm making it so the difficulty is lower for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And he has a penalty because he's in a state, to say the least.
In a state. I have 4 successes.
Yeah. His eyes widen steadily more and more as you're speaking, darting from you to Caius to this sparse, bare room that almost looks like a dungeon, the room that you call home that he is in. And he kind of freezes in your grip. You sort of hold him, we hoist him up off the ground with ease because he is so slight and there's not much of him at all. He nods frantically, sort of unable to even speak as he looks at you, looks at like the state that you're in, the arm that's sort of half hanging off your body, the scratch marks, the blood all over you. And he just sort of nods and freezes and doesn't do anything.
Okay. As I notice that he is thoroughly terrified at this moment, I'll just release the arm to kind of drop him back to the floor, and say, "Was nice knowing you, little brother. Now run."
As you drop him, he doesn't land on his feet. He sort of crumples down to his knees again, and sort of like in a frantic way, kind of squirms back up onto his feet and turns around at the door to the basement to look back at you once. Notices that you are resolute in your words, in what you've said, and with a sort of bloodied hand that leaves a smeared marking on the wall by the door, leaves. That is the last thing you see of him. Is there anything else you would like to do in the dying minutes before daybreak this night?
Make sure the sun doesn't come fucking in.
Bolt the door as usual. Perhaps just sort of, do you leave Caius there? Do you push him over to one side? Do you put him anywhere?
I leave him exactly where where he fell to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Sort of splayed down, kind of torpid and stiff like a corpse in this motion, this frozen sort of time pausing of him sort of grasping your arm, the one that he almost ripped from its socket completely, in this position, but lying on the ground like a sort of mummy of some kind. And as the sun rises, you fall into day sleep as the night ends. While this is happening, Lucretia, you and Remy traverse across the City of Lights. You can sort of see the first rays of light starting to peek over the horizon to the east.
They're atop the rooftops as she goes along, and it is a dance, almost like this ballroom dance, but it's a swap between who is leading and who is not. So there are certain times where she will deliberately place Remy down so that his feet are firmly on the ground, and then she will lift herself up to flick her dress above. And just to spice things up at one point, as the sun begins to kind of peak and the sky gets lighter, she lifts Remy up a little too high than he might be comfortable with before she brings him down and she dips herself in his arms outside the theater.
I'm going to get you to make a dexterity performance roll for me, Lucretia.
Got it. I throw him into the morning light.
How is Remy with these types
Chronicle
of daredevil
over.
behaviors, actually?
Just lying back and going with it.
Okay.
Totally just being slingshot about.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
What happens next depends on this roll.
I hope you have a new character ready. Do I still have fleetness active?
You would, yes.
Lovely.
For the rest of the evening.
All 3 minutes of it.
Yeah, that's right. Use it while it lasts.
Yeah, I gotta get home real quick. Okay.
I've got a very comfortable oubliette. If you need to crash.
That's right.
Yeah, the day sleep hits me as we're midair.
Oh.
That is 8 successes.
Oh wow, okay. It's fine then. Remy, yeah,
Whee!
I was going to make you roll Composure Resolve to see whether or not you get a little bit scared by this, but Lucretia, perhaps you two have engaged in such a thing before. You definitely have whilst firmly on the ground, but in this context, perhaps this is new for you. In any case, the way that the wind rushes by you, and the way that you seem to be sort of caught in your own moment in time, as though time around you has sort of ceased to exist for a point, it sort of creates this very powerful, lingering, strong impression on you. And when you eventually make it to Le Bon Diable and make your way down into the oubliette, this experience, this sort of traversal across the city, almost seems to elevate itself in your mind and become even more poignant, even more beautiful, memorable after the fact, as you kind of reminisce on this sort of motion, this kind of timeless moment, I suppose, that happens. And Lucretia, I'm assuming you make your way home as well.
Yes.
Hmm.
Certainly. Thank you, Monsieur, for such a lovely dance tonight.
'Tis an honor at times with you to live in a dream.
And she'll do the kiss on each cheek, probably deliberate to leave marks, and then zip off.
Yeah. And Lucretia, you make your way quickly before the sun rises truly over the horizon back to the Palais Royal, which isn't too far away from everything in this mood central part of Paris. Back to Dominique and his new praxis and all of the buzz that lingers within the walls of the Palais Royal. And you all fall into sleep for the day. Now, during the day, things shift. More voices of contentment and enthusiasm for Robespierre, the committee, the convention, the cult of the Supreme Being, everything that has been established over the past few months, over the past year in this city. But at the same time, more pockets of discontent seem to pop up as well. Most of these run by people, groups of working class people, groups of ex-aristocrats, bourgeoisie, who feel as though everything in this city is starting to crumble, to disintegrate, to become disgraced, a disgusting parody of the grandeur that it used to possess. In any case, there are many voices. Some of these voices are silenced, some of them are never found, are continued to be heard and reverberate across the city. All of which, however, you miss for the time being as you are in sleep. Now, as you all wake for the new evening, I'll get you all to make a lovely rouse check for me. As it is the thing we do.
The first one of these I've succeeded on, I think.
I'm so proud.
You know, every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Had a hungry night.
You know, starting off the night fresh, I also succeeded.
That's good for you, because I believe you want to heal some of that lasting damage that was done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And get
So
you to make
I think I'll
3
do
rouse checks for me.
3 more.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get 4 successes in a row.
Yeah.
Really twist that suspense.
That's right.
No, that's first one's a failure.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 hunger.
Yep.
Second one's a success.
That's good.
Good.
So 3 hunger. And last one is a failure, so 4 hunger.
Okay, we're up there now.
Yep.
The anger that you felt, Mayel, the previous night, finding out what it is that has been making you feel this way for years and years and years. And then sort of being able to act on it, getting your instantaneous revenge, in this case, has set your beast on edge. It's enthusiastic and excited within you. It desires to rip and tear your way into satisfaction the way that it has been doing quite a bit over the past few nights. It wants that again, and you can feel it clawing within you and trying desperately to make its way out of every part of you, so then it sort of wears your skin, overtakes you. You become the one that exists merely within yourself. Did anybody else fail?
When a Raven region, whatever, dies, the blood bond just ends,
It
right?
does.
Ooh.
Caius, however, is
Okay.
not dead.
Oh, that's right. Torpor
He's
is
mostly dead.
It's just
So I have the answers at the moment.
mm-hmm.
true.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good to
And
know.
I know what it takes to get there, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Remy, I'll start with you. Is there anything you do at the beginning of the evening as you make your way out to head towards Anarch territory to meet up with the rest of the group for this evening?
I think Remy might check in on Sebastian and Eleanor just to make sure they're all right.
Yeah.
They've had a big last night
Mm-hmm.
or two between the rite and like knowing what we were up to and watching, keep all that stuff.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. As the performance is going on this evening, you'd be able to find them just sort of hanging around, I would guess, probably backstage, talking to people. But tonight, I would say that they are very much sort of in their own space, not doing much, just in each other's company, rather than with too many other people. Probably find them in the back somewhere, sitting on a couple of crates, just not speaking with each other, but sitting with each other in silence, comfortable silence, the silence of the bond that the Voldery authenticates.
well, I think I'll let them be then. That's as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Just glad to see they're not anxious about something else or there aren't theater concerns to worry about.
Everything seems to be going swimmingly as usual.
Hmm.
Occasionally, when there is a burst of applause from the crowd or somebody yells something, perhaps under the influence of alcohol, but in jest or in good sort of humor or something, Eleanor's eyes flicker towards the curtains in a sort of fondness and then settle back on Sebastian or the surrounds.
Yeah. Okay. I think on the way out, Remy might just do a little theater manager thing of like stepping to the side wings of the stage and just sort of looking out.
Yeah.
Uh, Not visible to the audience in any way, but just watching them do their thing and soak it up.
For sure. Um, You probably catch the end of the second act just as the curtain falls. There is a sort of loud hurrah of people shouting and clapping in a very boisterous way, as Le Bon Diable probably encourages, I would say. People start to get up, move to the bar at the front and such like this. But the spirits undeniably are very sanguine, very sort of impassioned and enlivened by the performance.
Then I think Remy will ride that wave and just sort of spill out into the front if there are some people kind of stepping out and just kind of be a part of that crowd and then keep wandering down the road towards Anarch territory.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do. You make the walk. Nothing particularly of note, I don't think you would see here. There are a few sort of churches of reason that stick around. You do notice, however, without needing to make a check in this case, that a lot of them, in a similar way to the one that Barakiel mentioned to Mael, that have sort of been violated, banners that read paraphernalia regarding the Church of Reason have been vandalized or ripped apart and such like this. There is a real air of polarization in these streets. One that you probably didn't notice about a week ago. It seems to be rising, heightening. This tension that seems to fill the air makes it almost viscous in its way. And as you are walking, we'll move to Lucretia. How do you move into your evening?
I think she she has her routine. She wakes up alongside Dominique. They're definitely more like a little bit more boisterous than usual, like very happy and high spirits and stuff like that. She puts on the full get up, the white powder, the rouge, the big wig, the dress. She goes out. There's a lot of celebration. She's trying to keep energy up, even if people were hesitant at Jean-Baptiste leaving and that kind of stuff. So she is bolstering that praxis is a good thing. She sits in on Odette's boudoir, watches her toilette, and with great regret, she just wants to spend all day here because she loves working the crowd, manipulating these people in slight ways to make it all more positive and special. She's like, this is a fun little game compared to the mass chessboard that is Paris. She will head back to her room, very regrettably take off all of the makeup. She'll put on probably her most downplayed look so far, which is just some slightly powdered so that she isn't translucent.
Yeah.
She will keep her hair braided and powdered so that it is also not too translucent. And she'll wear probably just some bourgeois blacks. Yeah, just a simple dress. And she's like, I'm gonna play the part. This is very important that I don't trigger the anarchs into thinking I'm bringing some form of structure to them. And she will give Dominique a big kiss, kind of give him an idea of what to do to keep his praxis going tonight. And then we'll head out into the night to find anarch territory.
Great. I'm going to get you to make a couple of rolls for me. The
Okey
first one
dokes.
being manipulation etiquette to work the crowd yourself.
Can I feed? I only need like 1 dot. So I think part of her waking up is her attendance comes in, making sure that they've got a nice little bit of drug in them.
Okay. I will get you to make a feeding roll for me, which will just be for you as a
Manipulation subject.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yep.
Manipulation
roll twice,
subterfuge for your blood, manipulation etiquette for your working the crowd.
1, 2, 3, 4 for the feeding.
Okay, you can slake with 4
Yeah,
successes you
fun.
can slake 3 hunger.
Easy. And then manipulation etiquette.
Yes.
Can I add my status to this?
Absolutely, yes, for sure. And your looks as well.
Oof.
Yeah.
Looks is 2, right? Being stunning.
It is 2 extra dice.
Could get dressed up. Oh, Lord in heaven. That is 9 with a messy critical.
Okay.
She really worked. Damn.
Messy critical. Roll a d10 for moi, please.
10.
You got a 10 on the d10?
I did, yes.
Your clan compulsion is going to activate with a 10.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. I think as she's going around, this is so almost conceited.
Yeah.
But as she is going around and being like, yes, Dominique, he's so lovely. I love him. He's smart and wonderful, and he's going to be a great prince. And we should all love him. She believes it herself. And she starts being like, yes, and she gravitates towards Dominique and literally is just like, you're it. Caught in her own web.
Right. In that case, would it be fair to say that Lucretia might be a little delayed in getting to Anarch territory?
I think the regrettability of taking it off, she like pulls Dominique away.
Yeah.
Because she's like, yes, work on your praxis. Or come with me to the room and we can talk a bit more about what you should do about your praxis. And then she's like, right, I'm getting changed. Maybe you happen to be in the room as well. Talk to me about your prince. ideas. They sound
Cue
really
the
cool.
cue the Bridgerton orchestra of Marvin Gaye.
Nice.
Uh, but she starts asking him about his beliefs and like what he wants to do with the princedom and stuff.
Yeah, and in that way, triggers your compulsion for him, but also compounding on that is your obsession with
Yeah.
belief and the beliefs that you yourself have instilled in him over time. And it is this sort of self-fulfilling gratification that leads you down this path for the time being. As this is happening,
God, the visuals of her sitting in the mirror, taking off her makeup as he tells her the
yeah.
things that he believes in, and her seeing herself in the mirror and hearing herself in him.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible. What a horrible woman.
Horrible? I don't know about that.
Egotistical.
Yeah. As this is playing out, Mael, you also awaken this night, and you sort of feel over the course of this, your tendons, your nerves starting to stitch themselves back together. Your arm, having been left by your side, is better, though it is still very much exposed. The bone is still visible. There are still snapped veins and arteries and things where blood doesn't flow, as it's all seeped out into the excesses of the room. As you wake up, Caius is still lying there in this position, grabbing your arm as he was last night, a snarl on his face, fangs still bared, they haven't retracted back into his mouth. You wake up to this visual, dried blood, crusty and sort of flaked all over the floor.
I think I'll kind of get up a bit out of it. Although normally, like, Kindred don't have any problems waking up. They're just like awake at one moment. I think she'll having the last night end the way it did abruptly, and kind of awakening to the exact same scene, nothing being changed. I think she'll get up holding her arm still up, kind of don't wanting to let it just dangle. She'll stand up, look at Caius the way he's frozen. Almost, yes, thank you for the visual.
You're so
effect.
welcome.
Remain there for a second. Like she's considering what to do. Because she basically now has him. He can't do anything. The likelihood of people coming to find him is very, very small. The only other person he had a bond with was forced to leave France. So I think as she'll stand there considering those things, she'll just turn and walk to the corner of her room where there's a few clean clothes, basically, and walk over there, kind of take off her shirt around the arm, throw it to another corner because she'll not use that one again. Think that she probably needs to get some new clothes eventually if this is gonna keep happening. But that's a worry for later as she takes a clean shirt, kind of puts it on. Mael probably doesn't own a mirror, because she would have no need for one if she wouldn't see a need for one. So I think she'll kind of absently like wipe at the blood that's probably hanging somewhere, but since she can't see it, she's just gonna try to do her best as she can, kind of like lick the hand and kind of hype. And I think for the night, she's not gonna remain that long because she has the gnawing in herself that she really needs to go out and hunt, because she knows that if she's gonna stay in the room with this feeling for too long, that she's gonna maybe do something she'll regret, which is actually taking Caius's blood, which she doesn't want. But part of it in her probably still wants. So I think the kind of duality in her mind of that makes her try to leave the room that much quicker. Taking the jacket that she never wears to put it over her and kind of hide the arm in it.
Yeah, for sure. So you're going out and trying to feed right away. Do I have that right?
Yes, because I think that's a good idea. Because going to the Anarchs ravenous is maybe not the best idea.
Yeah. Certainly. I will get you to make I guess a wit survival roll to track somebody down sort of on their own. Around these sort of narrow city streets in Anarch territory in the south. While you're doing that, Remy, I'm going to get you to make a wits investigation roll.
All right.
And he's in the streets, and then he just watches a figure come from the rooftop down onto someone into an alleyway, and it's just like, I found a meeting place.
Dang. That's 6 on a crit.
Oh, nice.
You got more than I did. I have 3.
With 3 successes, Mael, is there anybody, Mael, usually a sort of type of demographic of person she looks for, or does she not discriminate?
No, I don't think she looks for a specific type of person. I think the moments when kind of her ideals and like beliefs kind of still slip off is the moments when she hunts, because then that's basically like, oh, it's the beast, it's natural, it's like the law, and like we're equal, but if you can't defend yourself, then
Yeah, the instinct surges forth to the surface. I'll say you spot a woman. She is carrying a basket of bread. She's sort of wearing a lower class kind of street sort of shopkeeper garb. Looks like she's on her way back from the store, or the bakery, or the market, or something like that. Humming a tune to herself, completely oblivious to the world around her. Sort of through some back alleys. Looks like she knows exactly where she's going, like she's taken this route a million times before. But you catch her sort of around these winding back streets as she is completely alone. What does this look like?
I think it's less rapid and like as it normally would be. I think because Mael is not in the best state physically, she will kind of just act like she's passing the street, like she's passing her in the alleyway. But then stop when she's past her, almost like she's actually considering what she's gonna do for a moment. But then with a snarl, like turn around and grab the woman by her wrist.
Yeah, certainly. You do so with ease. You beat her with the successes. So she sort of stops, and as you grab her, she turns around and stops humming straight away, and she says, Mademoiselle, can I help you? You look injured. Are you okay?
I think through gritted teeth, the fangs probably already coming out. As Mael talks, the like predator side of her will come out more, and she'll just like gnarl and say like, I'm sorry. And then she's gonna just like drag the woman in, keep a hand over her mouth, and bite down on the shoulder, or the best place.
I'll get you to make a strength brawl roll for me.
Mm-hmm.
against this.
And I think
Poor
I'll need to
lady.
roll to see if I can
Resist
keep
frenzy
myself.
because you're at full hunger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Strength brawl.
Yep.
Does this count as grappling?
Yeah, it does because you are holding her down.
Yep.
So add an extra dice for your specialty, and the hunger frenzy check will be at difficulty 2.
Yeah. So the strength brawl, I have 5 successes.
Yeah. She doesn't go anywhere.
And the frenzy check, what do I need to roll for that?
Your unspent willpower. Remember, it regenerates up to your composure level because that's highest. Sorry, your resolve is higher, so you generate 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fine. All right.
Yeah.
2 successes.
Yep. You just passed. You feel the beast sort of come into your mouth, sort of choking you for a moment, as though there's something in there. But you manage to swallow it down and maintain control of yourself as you bite into the sort of neck shoulder crevice of this woman. What does it look like as you're feeding? Do you take all of it? Do you just take a little bit? How does she go about this?
I think Mael usually, when she hunts, she doesn't really care, and she just feeds rapidly, just taking all of the blood, with the full knowledge that she'll kill the person. So I think it definitely starts off that way. I think she in this kind of not. It looks like she's in a frenzy, but in herself, she's still in control, right? So she just bites down, rapidly starts drinking, keeping the woman clawed to her side, and silent. But I think after a moment, that'll kind of loosen. She'll kind of, instead of normally gripping the woman and sinking the claws in, I think the claws will kind of soften and not dig into the skin anymore. As they kind of loosen up, she'll still probably take 3.
Okay.
So it'll be dangerous for the woman.
Yeah.
But she does make the decision that she's not gonna kill her. Maybe because of the struggling things inside herself at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, feel free to remove 3 dots of hunger from your tracker. And as you pull out your fangs, the woman sort of slumps down, unconscious, on the side of the little street. And as you're feeding, Remy, this is when you turn a corner, sort of following the streetscapes around, sort of searching every which way, using your limited understanding of this region. And you eventually come across Mael feeding on this woman, and after a while, pulls her fangs out. The woman slumps down against the side of the alleyway, unconscious.
Just watch quietly until it seems like Mael has come down a bit from the experience. Just say, well, I did hope to find you.
I will rapidly swivel my head towards the voice, because instinct is, if someone is watching this right now, then that's too bad for them. They can't leave. But as she realizes that it's Remy, she'll straighten, try to again wipe away some of the blood, with the good arm, the other one still hiding in the jacket, and say, yeah, well, I needed to pick me up before we went to do political stuff.
Sort of look up and down at the state of things and say, I would say you are dressed exactly for the part of French political stuff. And then take a handkerchief out of the vest pocket and sort of offer, be like, if you like.
she'll tentatively like take it, but then just like keep it in the hand and say, "Don't know how much a handkerchief will do that my hand and some saliva couldn't." And she'll kind of look down, and like it's obvious that when you look down, like there's no blood that you can see.
Yeah. uh,
So she'll just like hold it and then like maybe like hold it back tentatively to him.
all right. Is there anything I should know? You look to have had a very interesting evening.
Mm, mm. Uh, yeah, you could call it interesting. Um, not this evening, last evening. You know, uh, yeah. Ellie is out of the picture.
Out of
Not
the picture.
not killed. Because I know it sounds that way. But I threatened him and made him leave the city for good.
I see. A prince's generosity, that. Banishment over execution, that is.
By well, I wasn't sure yet if I was gonna execute him. But yeah.
He's going to look at Miles' shoulder and say, "Did Jean-Baptiste do that to you?"
God heavens, no, the man couldn't even break a twig if he wanted to.
I would have been surprised.
No, he didn't raise a finger. What does blood do, Remy?
My
And
word.
not just the vague shit that you always blabber out about how it's mystical and from the Dark Father.
That's both of those things are literally true. I think I might have some idea why you're asking this. Do you know how sometimes I can speak and people do what I say, regardless of whether they will or not? Your vitae, your blood, it can have a similar effect on Canaanites and kine. And it affects you. We all drank from the one cup when we were a pack, and we all gave of our blood to do it. That is not a coincidence. Taking another Canaanite's blood is in some way giving yourself to them. Why do you ask this exactly?
You were getting to the answer.
I will keep going. Right. So, for example, if I wanted you to think of me fondly, more fondly, if I wanted you to be amenable, agreeable to the things I had to say, not have to work so hard to get you to agree to things, let's say, well, I might give you a drink of my blood. And if I really wanted that effect to be enhanced, I would give you another. And as is the case in so many things, the rule of 3 applies. Then you are bound to me, and resisting me is now painful, not only difficult, it might hurt you to try.
All right. It took me a few centuries to know that.
I am both.
You're what?
Well, I'm shocked, but really, I'm really not surprised. Do you know, it would not be so difficult. It would not be so difficult to do to another K-Knight. With some timing, and some of my gifts, for example. You know, memory is a cloudy thing at best. But you know that some K-Knights can remove others' memories at will.
Yes, I know that memories are a tricky thing. Thank you, Remy.
Oh, it's more than that. It's quite cut and dry in this case. They can be removed and replaced. And you may not ever know that
I
has
know
happened.
that, Remy.
So the reason I say I'm shocked but not surprised is that I am shocked to learn that this has happened to you, but I am not surprised because of how possible it is to continuously rewrite your story to keep you from remembering difficult truths. Who did this? Pointing to the arm. Was it him?
Doesn't matter, I put them down.
Out of the picture?
I mean, sorta, I can take them permanently out the picture whenever I want.
I see.
And I will.
You will. When you are ready.
What is the thing you like to say? When the time is right.
Yes. Yes, precisely. Well, if I can be of use to that end some way, just do let me know.
No, you can't. I got it all covered. Have the arm to show for it.
Ah, yes. Rare for you to bear a scar. Even this long, I suppose. Appreciate it while it lasts.
Anyway, isn't Lucretia joining us? Or...
Oh, I am certain she is making her roundabout way, as I had to.
Lucretia, it is at this point where you eventually come out from your engagement, your compulsion satisfied through spending time with Dominique. And say, Mael and Remy, you make your way sort of across to the main road, and Lucretia, you catch up with them as they're hard to miss, whilst Lucretia is probably more hard to miss as she makes her way down south through the Animal Territory.
Think it's quite funny, actually. I think her compulsion changes what she wears. So instead of being like, I need to play this down, she's like, no, this is a game of belief. And I think she's in a slightly wider dress.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing huge, but she went back on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You see
Um,
her coming down across the bridge, and you all meet up together.
Bonjour.
Hello.
We're still busy running errands.
That could be said, yes. Discussions were had. What does your jacket look like? Like, is it?
The
It's a
jacket.
nice jacket, isn't
What? No, I
it? For
mean
her.
nice. It's the one jacket that she has hanging around that she occasionally takes with, but almost never actually wears. It was the same jacket that she brought all those years ago to the occasion, where she was like, "Oh, I need to dress up, but I'll never actually wear it. But here, I did the efforts."
Okay, perfect. I think she sees you and that she says, "Is there an occasion I should be aware of?"
Oh, you mean
You are
this?
so dressed up.
Yeah, well, it's difficult to hide this without a jacket, and she just like opens it.
Oh, are you okay? What happened?
I had a fight. And she closes it.
Oh no, my dear. Are you okay? What happened? Well, please. You are okay? Who fought you?
Um, Another kindred,
Oh no.
but you should see the other guy.
I think I would like that. I'm sure it's positively grisly.
Hmm. Where are they?
Hmm. Mhm.
This is so concerning.
They are somewhere no one will find them anymore, and
Ah,
they are taken care of.
you are so strong. Okay. Well, if anyone could defend himself, it is certainly you. So, as long as you are okay, you have the time to heal.
I guess it was less defending, more aggressively attacking the other person. But
You
yeah,
must
well,
tell. We have a walk to have. I want to hear the details. I don't often get out, as you know. Did you have your... She's gonna like start walking down the street, be like, did you have your claws out?
I think if she starts walking, Maya will kind of begrudgingly follow. But the thing is, like, Lucretia will start walking, but not knowing the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think at certain like corners and stuff, Maya will be like, "It's this
Yeah.
way."
The slightest tilt of your head, her heightened senses, like,
Make it look
got
like that
it.
you're the one leading the way
Yes.
when it
Yeah.
meets.
The
I
shifting of
think
fabric as you turn your head. She's like, got
Just improvising a tour guide.
it.
um yeah, well as I said to Remy, you're gonna have to deal with the Camarilla part without Jean Baptiste anymore.
Oh, yes, well, no, if you were fighting Jean-Baptiste, he would not have harmed you at all.
He- But yeah, yeah, I just
But he is gone. Oh, sensational.
yeah, and if he knows what's best for him, he will never enter France again.
Oh, he is alive. Let's see. Perhaps we can find someone to fill our vacuum amongst his people, perhaps. Would you like to inherit his people?
God no.
Why not?
Perhaps holding on to that thought for when we speak in a little bit to some of those people
Ah,
might be wise, Mael, if you need a bargaining chip to offer. Well, maybe you don't.
I'm not gonna offer the followers of Jean-Baptiste. Have you seen them? They couldn't harm a twig.
Ah, I
They're
see.
pretty, alright.
Ah,
But they're
People
just
are people.
numbers.
ah. Well, that is good
This
to know.
is a numbers game at the moment.
Quite right.
For
I
long.
mean, yes, but the people wouldn't know what they were fighting for.
Hmm. Well, I doubt they will shed a tear to realize he is gone.
Before long, the three of you make your way through that sort of short walk from where you congregate to the sort of nicer part of this area of town. It is along the actual river, sort of off to the east a little bit. In this sort of townhouse, four-storied, nicely sort of designed Parisian building that overlooks the river. This time of night, the night is clear, the stars are shining, reflecting off the river beautifully. And Maëlle, you know that Aaron de Galbert lives in the top floor, the sort of penthouse, how you would say, of this particular building.
Um, I think she'll stop the group at the building and kind of motion upwards and say, well, it's here.
Yes.
We're gonna find him here. Before we enter, she'll turn to Lucretia. You'll be able to keep your snarky comments to yourself.
What exactly are we hoping to get from Aaron?
Well, optimistically, get him to side with us and with Francine to attack to take back the warehouse, fight the fight that we're planning. Hopefully, try to convince him to side with us, and if not, convince him to stay out of it, and if not, other measures.
I see. Perhaps I know not too much of the baronies of the Anarchs. Would offering him some semblance of power to the weak backbone man will give him enough confidence to stand up alongside another baroness? Reinstate the Anarchs?
Maybe, um, I mostly, I mostly hope that if he's actually an anarch, then he might see the actual reason for this fight. Um, I know that if he doesn't fight with it, then I'll probably be on the losing side afterwards. And if he's someone who likes to plan the future, then yeah, maybe he wouldn't want to be on that side.
I shall leave it in your capable hands, and I shall keep my snarky comments between myself and just myself, I think.
I will second that notion. We will follow your lead, Maëlle. These are your people, as it were.
We do have a history with them, though, to be aware of. Somewhat, at least. He is
Yeah.
not the biggest fan of mine, nor I him. How best would you have us manage that, Maya?
Um, just be
Keep quiet.
yourself in the background,
She shifts her
quietly.
stance and like moves her shoulders and stuff, and she does this like little shimmy where she's like, I think this version of myself will certainly do.
Lucretia being herself in the background is, I believe, the definition of a paradox.
Indeed. Oh, she like pats your shoulder.
Perhaps we shall keep our observations to ourselves both, and if called upon, consider our words with the end goal in mind of Robespierre's death.
They will be listening and looking for anything out of their ordinary.
With that, you make your way up into the building, up the flights of stairs to the 4th floor at the top of the building. There is a grand, actually, set of double doors in this sort of pre-revolutionary style, painted white with sort of gold accents on the door, so to speak. You can hear conversation from within, murmurings. Too hard to make out unless you are, of course, Lucretia with heightened senses activated.
Heightened senses, maybe.
A conversation between de Galbert and a woman, from what you can hear. They seem to be thanking each other, to keep it brief, and delighted to make your acquaintance, to do business with you. We'll be seeing each other again, I'm sure. And she says, yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. And after
Name, sorry. Voice not familiar at all.
the woman's voice, no, not to you.
But cool. We'll whisper then to Mael. He's not alone.
I think you whisper that to her at the exact moment that she's already knocking on the door.
Yes, perfect. Perfect.
As you knock on the door, Mael, there's some sort of shuffling from inside, and a moment later, the woman actually opens the door. She is a sort of quite nicely dressed lady, actually, wearing a sort of pastel-colored dress, quite fine, of this sort of pre-revolutionary style. She looks at all three of you, bows significantly to you, Lucretia, as you look the sort of most upper out of the three of you, giving you a deep curtsy, actually. And she says, "Excuse me, I'm sorry," and gestures inside.
Okay. And not familiar at all?
No, not to you.
All right. Bye.
And she leaves.
Yeah, does she leave? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's leaving. I'm just going to, for the looks of it, loop my arm through Remy's. Power couple energy is what we're going for.
Yeah, I think as the woman leaves, Maya will kind of look inside the room, to see if she can spot the Galbert.
Yeah. He is inside. Actually, he as she leaves and her dress moves past the door, revealing you first, Mael, as you're sort of taking the lead here. He looks at you. Make a wits insight check for me. In fact, you all can do this.
Okay.
Yep. I have a specialty for insight and kindred.
Oh,
May
yeah.
I add it?
Yes.
I have
He
a
is
specialty
indeed a
in
kindred.
desires.
Not in this case. For desires.
Perfectly fine. I'll forgive it.
I got 2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
Got 4.
Nice.
I've got 3.
Okay. For Mael and Remy, he looks perfectly amiable. A sort of small, easy smile on his face, as he looks over the three of you, eyes glinting in recognition. He clearly recognizes you from the last time you met, 5 years ago at this point. Actually, it would be more than that even now.
Yeah.
But Lucretia with 4 successes, you sort of see more in his body language, in the way that he moves. Not celerity, but there is a slight sort of tenseness to the way that he looks and moves and seems to be feeling. But it's clearly masked by the smile. At least he's trying to keep this hidden. And he says, come in, please.
I mean, to be fair, the side of this, it's like the group he used to know as a bot. Now he probably knows that it's not anymore. But it's like, the last time we met, it was not on such good terms, and now we come back, I'm fully bloodied. It's like we're on
Yeah.
a warpath.
If he looks at each of us when he locks eyes with me, I'm going to use entrancement.
Ooh, nice.
And try to position myself behind Mael so that it can hopefully mix up the signal.
Mix up the signal.
That's just the flavor of it. I'm just
Okay.
going to do that because of all the people, I am his least liked. So if I can get this in before there is adversarial.
It's very smart.
Yeah. Make a rouse check for me, and
Yep,
I'll
I
get you to
succeed
roll
on that.
charisma plus your presence, and he will roll the instinctual attempt to resist, which is composure plus wit. And if you get this right, it lasts for an hour. You can add dice equal to your presence rating on any social dice pool, and they can't act against you specifically.
Oh, Lord in heaven, the dice give me 6 with a regular crit.
Oh, very,
Don't
very
know what a
nice.
crit does on entrancement.
It doesn't have any system effect, but you do beat him with 6 successes. He got 4. And so he sort of does look almost like sort of to you, but to Mael, who sort of stands in the way. It catches eye. And he's very much looking at you, but noticing Mael at the same time.
Momentary, as he's like, who's here? And she just goes,
yeah. And every time his eyes flit towards you, Lucretia, you notice that tenseness in his muscles sort of like loosen momentarily, and it's his eyes linger on you for more than they did before. But he's still very much aware of the other 2 people, and he says,
for fun flavor, her blood is like, figure it out, figure out what he stands for now. Like she's immediately like, I got him.
Yeah.
But she's like, stop. Sorry, you go.
Come in, please. Have a seat. Sorry, the room's in a bit of disarray. I've had a few meetings over the past few days. I wasn't expecting you 3 to come knocking after so many years. How do you do? How do all of you do?
Yeah, Mael will kind of tentatively step inside and be like, it's pretty obvious that you wouldn't be expecting the 3 of us to walk in your room, isn't it?
Oh, the last time I saw you 3 together, it was under remarkably different circumstances, if you don't mind me saying.
Is there a couch in here?
Yes, there is, like a sort of 3-person sofa type of thing. Yeah.
Remy will sort of keep the usher vibe going and sort of escort
Glide
over.
to the layers her dress out, sits down very elegantly and probably gestures or something, or gets Remy to sit down next to her.
I think if the both of you sit down on the couch, Mael will like at the armrest of the couch, just you know, the kind of standing and leaning on the armrest. I think she'll do that.
Can I get the 3 of you anything to drink? I have a variety of things.
Is there a word for like vitae wine?
Vitae vin? I don't know.
Yeah, I think she asked for the equivalent of just like a nice wine.
What resonance?
Ooh, I think she has a preference for sanguine, is that presence is Auspex, huh? Presence is Auspex? Presence is sanguine.
Presence is sanguine, yes.
Yes, she will request sanguine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, no. I need you all to know that she is fighting being a huge bitch. Because she was like, do you have a disgrace? Yeah. Of course you don't. Oh! So she's just going to ask for a sanguine.
Yeah, you're doing really good.
She's just...
I think that Remy and Lucretia will definitely notice that Mael is, like, the way he's behaving right now, she's totally out of it for a second.
Seeing this, Remy will just say, Nothing for me, thank you. And yes, it has been quite some time. How have you
Indeed.
been keeping yourself these nights?
Locked away and as safe as one can be.
I see.
Anything for you, Mademoiselle Cadieux?
No, thanks.
Certainly. He actually leaves himself for just a brief moment, says, I'll be right back, and brings a bottle of blood for you and a small sort of port glass, I would say, and
Perfect.
pours it out for you. Hopefully that is to your liking, Madame.
Time for a performance. A deception is just so it's like, delicious.
You want to try it?
Yeah, she drinks it. She does the first one straight away.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Delicious, delicious discreas for you,
Oh.
Madame de Visage. This is some of the best bottled blood you have ever tasted, almost better than some of the things you get straight from the source.
Okay.
Any presence rolls you make from now on,
Yep.
enhance. And you even notice that he seems somewhat even more well disposed towards you ever since you've drunk this. His eyes linger on you, notices your satisfaction, and it seems to give him satisfaction in return, as though you're sharing this kind of
Yeah.
emotive bond, in a sense.
This is going really bad, guys. Her willpower is declining by the gesture.
Hospitality? Oh.
Yeah, she's like, oh no, he's at my will.
I
I think. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think Maya will pick up a conversation after that
Yes.
weird interaction.
Yeah.
happened.
Licking the glass.
Uh, um, and you've been fine locking yourself up and hiding away?
Of course not. I would much rather be out speaking to my friends, going out as you do. As you know, I much like to partake in the political goings on of this city, but it's been extraordinarily difficult to do that without finding one without one's head of late. Especially with the title that I bear, more of a cross than anything in these nights, unfortunately. How are the three of you keeping? I was under the impression that there was a schism between you some 5 years ago. It is odd and surprising to see you three together once again. Have you all re-established yourselves, so to speak? Mind me prying.
We're all here because the sects are standing together to go bed.
Is that so? I have been locked away.
And you're
too.
the only one missing out. But we're here to fix that.
Standing
Sorry
together.
if I'm. She kind of like looks to the side to like Remy and Lucretia, and then she turns back to the Gobert. She's
Make
like,
it as subtle as possible. You're doing great, kind of look.
sorry if that's a bit
Lucretia
direct.
is drinking so slowly just so that her mouth is full. She's like,
But yeah, she'll turn to the Gobert and say like, sorry if that's a bit direct.
Directness is refreshing. Standing together to what end, may I ask?
To fight the revolution that we initially wanted.
You want to retake the revolution for the Anarchs, then?
I want to retake the revolution that the Anarchs started. But at this moment, it won't just be enough for the Anarchs to have the revolution. For us to get it back, we need all of us. She kind of looks to the side.
pierces her glass a little.
We have all been in danger these past nights. Even me.
And I too miss out on the political playground that once was Paris.
We are strangely alike in that way, madame, and I know that there have been many of your sect, Remy, that have fallen under the blade in the same way that most of us have. I must admit this is surprising, however, it is the best news I've heard for a while, and I have been hearing some discontent from the mortals, from other kindred, but three of you here is one thing. How do I know that this is better than the other things that I've heard, the other offers I've been presented with?
Are you in contact with Mademoiselle Corday at all?
In contact? No. I do hear things about her loitering around the place, slinking about, as she is wont to do.
Not a fan of Miss Corday?
I think we're all acquainted with the reasons why that is.
You mentioned other offers.
Yes.
Oddly, I am encouraged by that.
That is good to hear. It seems many of us are on the same page, at least in terms of the task at hand, making the streets of the city safe again. I've heard offers from members within the convention, from elites within the National Guard, from even within some members of the committee, of Robespierre's committee.
What
However,
might their offers be, though?
very mutinous, very cloak and dagger, very risky, and not
And you
very
believe
foolproof.
them to be true and not a falsehood to lure you out?
No. Very paranoid. You coming here with a similar offer is something I've heard much of over the past month, but
Did you possibly also then, if you heard so much over the past nights, did you hear about a party last night?
heard about it. Didn't get an invite, so I stayed away. Camarilla parties have never been quite my thing.
But did you hear that it wasn't just a Camarilla party?
An open invite.
No, I didn't. Afraid that detail didn't quite reach my ears.
So you didn't hear that at this party last night there were Camarilla kindred, Sabbat kindred, and Anar kindred, all like-minded.
Is that so?
I'm surprised you haven't heard about it yet if you heard about so much.
Things reach my ears, some things do, some things don't. This party was only last night, correct? If you don't mind me asking, what happened?
The revolutionary spirit happened, Galbert. And hence, to carry it forward, we're here. You're the last piece. We have everything else.
In detail, Aaron, there was an Elysium. All three sects gathered. No disciplines allowed, as Elysium is wont to do. Conversation was had of all different persuasions, festivities, conversations, gathering of support. All of it came together in a single place of revolutionary behavior. We are here, and we brought that same kind of unity to those who came to the Elysium. Whilst you may hold Mademoiselle Corday's sister accountable for her sister's behavior, that is unfortunate, but she did represent your sect at this Elysium, and she seemed encouraged. So we are bringing you into the loop, Tegabed.
As much as my own and of my people's own issues with Mademoiselle Corday have defined the way our sect has been shaped over the years, I hear your earnestness, and I, frankly, will willingly and happily and with earnest take part in any movement against the current order, the current way of things. Even if it means working with the other Baron. What is it you would like me to do?
Mael will very shiftedly, glance at the other two, be like, is it supposed to be this easy? She won't say that, but,
Clarity on information that certain characters have. I believe that only Mael was told that de Galbert is interested in the factory.
yeah,
Only
and
Mael
I'll
knows.
bring it
I
up.
just know that the factory is something they are not what I'm not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
De Galbert's interest, cool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Carry on.
She'll, after she shiftedly glances at the other two, she'll be like, oh, that's great to hear. Our people, are going to go take back the weapons factory
The Fouillon.
that you were also interested in, that Miss Corday was also interested in. But we want to do that as one united front, and not you two fighting against each other for the factory. Because in the end, if we get the factory back, we're one step closer to taking down Robespierre.
You're right. Without the Fouillon, without the factory, I am but a hunted down baron in the top of a tower, unable to do much. But that factory contains arms, explosives, very important weaponry that we can use to bring this city back to the Anarchs and our revolution. The moment it is being run by the Spot, I'm afraid I want to help take it back. On just one condition. A point of security, if you will. Simply that when we do, I will be the one to manage it. To staff it, to own it with pen and paper, to distribute the products to the entirety of our sect and any of other sects who wish to help in this endeavor against the current order.
Quick question from my side, from my background knowledge.
Mm.
Back in the days when we started fighting the revolution and when things started going south, but with the Women's March and all of that, Aaron did actively participate in the revolution back then?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was sort of one of the founding political men who got rid of the old army and brought in a new revolutionary army, and helped with writing the new constitution and things like that as well, the Constitution of 1791. And sort of in those early days of the revolution being overseen by the anarchs, he was very much heading the sort of political side of that, whereas Francine was and Charlotte were in the more sort of street level. And though they didn't get on, the two sides of that story really worked together in their own ways to push everything forward. It was just when the Sabbat sort of coercively took everything over that they were forced into hiding, and when everything radicalized and got violent and stuff.
all right, gotcha. With that knowledge, I mean, I don't see a problem with that as long as you use the factory for our fight against Robespierre when it happens with all of the sects. And as long as you don't have to be friends with Francine, but you will have to at least fight together again like you did once.
What does Francine get out of this? Really?
The
I mean, not
weapons.
to be too blatant, but whilst in this tower, you have been offered quite a many things. But our offer, this real push forward, would not have occurred without Francine coming to the Elysium. I wish to see that she be compensated.
I am happy to have a conversation with her. I know, Mael, that you align yourself with her, and she puts a great deal of stock in manpower and having arms and the ability to defend oneself. And in managing this factory, I would be able to negotiate something with her and with the rest of the anarchs, and that we can look after one another in this way. I am happy, she is happy, Paris is happy, France is happy, as we once were before all of this went down the drain, so to speak.
Can I? Is he telling the truth? Is this genuine?
Wits
Wants
insight.
with desires.
Yeah, this time, absolutely. And he says simply that I won't. I'm not much of a fighter, Mael, you know this well. But I can contribute to this, taking back of the Fouillon by making waves in the convention, making it so that Robespierre, his men, his allies, aren't aware of the fact that we're there. Taking it back, we won't receive any company, so to speak. With 3 successes, he seems earnest, eager even, for this.
Good.
The end of this, when the fight is over and we will be on the winning side, once we've taken down Robespierre and his vile and twisted beliefs, the things he put up, we want the city back. We want the revolution that we wanted in the past to actually happen and come to fruition. But after that, I want you and Francine to be the two heads of the anarchs to decide what goes forward with the city. There will be people from the Sabbat, there will be people from the Camarilla. There won't just be one prince to want France, or one archbishop to rule over France, or one baron to rule over France. But there will be all three sects. And I hope you'll want to be in that position.
I
The
don't.
little cheers and drink.
He looks towards the three of you, eyes still lingering on Lucretia. So much kindred blood has been spilt over the past year. And it pains me to see this revolution was built on the words, the ideas of people like Voltaire, Rousseau, Mirabeau, in that we all should be free to break the chains of society that bind us, find our own way, find meaning in our own existence, whether that be the fleeting ephemerality of the mortal life or one that lasts a lot longer, like our own. If choose the structure of the Camarilla, the faith of the Sabbat, or to break those chains and live by our creed, everybody has that right. But I think, ultimately, it is important that, as you say, Maëlle, folks like Francine and myself, who do not hold ourselves to any of these structures, may be the ones to oversee this free, chainless society, because we don't have any parameters to enforce on those who wish to be free in their own right. I'm not there to enforce things on others. If people wish to enforce things on themselves or live by creeds or doctrines, then they're free to do so. But they must not force it on others. That is where I think we will be able to change and consistently keep this country for the better.
Lucretia's going to move her braid as if she's like adjusting herself. There is a significant look between both the two of you as she like turns her head to adjust her hair that earnestly just reads as like, this is that leader person that we literally said to everyone we don't want someone to fill that spot. But there's just a look of like, and then she goes back to her drink.
And he says, eventually, that ultimately, that comes down to us working with all of the kindred in the city, all of the humans in this city together. All of the voices present, heard, loud. That's what I always wanted with this. That's what Francine always wanted.
Sure, could you give us a moment to consider your offer?
Of course. The sitting room is just beyond the doors if you wish to.
I think Maëlle will ignore Lucretia for a moment as she says that.
Yeah.
And continue looking at the gallbed. We're not all divine beings. And we are not the ones to tell others what their freedom should look like.
Indeed.
And after we finish this, we'll finally all be equals again. Kindred in kind, and even kindred among sects.
He goes almost to touch you on the shoulder, but sort of seems to stop himself, smiling at you, very wholly. He brushes past you, eyes lingering on Lucretia, and as he passes you, he says, "Feel free to take the bottle into the next room."
You cut out.
Oh,
You cut
sorry.
out. And as he
Thank you.
passes, and then you cut out.
As he passes, he stops to Lucretia and says, "Feel free to take the bottle into the next room, if you please," and opens the door for you.
I so badly want to be like, no, you wait in the other room. But this is not their house.
Sure.
You can
clenched.
roll to see what you do.
No, she was told to behave. She stands up. I think she'll look down. She'll give like a little bit of a nod and be like, "Very gracious. I don't think the discussion should be too. Just some privacy is fine." And she will glide towards the sitting.
I think Maya will like kind of slowly follow. And the two of you will never have seen Mayal this soft before. She's like, normally you get a cold or like predatory feeling from her, but now it's like just a warm feeling. Like the beast is sated and sleeping quietly.
It's a woman. It's just a person. Yeah, we'll go into the next room. Stand as far away from the door in case Mr. Delger wants to put his ear against it.
You all enter into the sitting room. There is a fireplace that is stone cold. Doesn't even have any cinders or anything. Ashes in the bottom of it. Everything is very, very clean. Nicely, sort of perfectly set out. The walls are nice, but they don't have many sort of artworks or anything on them. It's all very minimalistic. But the furniture that is around, there's a desk in the corner that's completely empty of everything. And the coffee table with chairs and another couch sitting around, bookshelves lining the walls. Before you get into this conversation, we will take this opportunity to have a break.
Lovely.
Yes. Thank you everybody for sticking around so far. And we will be back to see the rest of this through soon. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with us over the break, and we'll just hop right back into the action. Now, as we left off, you are alone in the sitting room of Monsieur de Galbert's apartment at the top of this building. As I said, it's very nicely decorated, though very sparsely furnished as well. There isn't much sort of unneeded extravagance. Lucretia, you probably notice its bareness more than anyone else. To Mael, it's probably a little bit more familiar, I'd say. Yeah, you make yourselves comfortable, and for the moment, the room is yours. And Lucretia, with your heightened senses, before you do start conversing, I'll get you to make a wits awareness roll for me. Add your aspects to that as well.
Five,
Ooh.
surprisingly.
With 5 successes, you can actually hear Dagobert 2 rooms away. He's moved sort of from the drawing room where you were speaking with him before, away from you again to give you
Yeah.
space. And you can sort of hear him tinkering around with what sounds like glass bottles, probably where he got yours from.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Well, his offer is expected, but it does feel like someone else just comes in and dictates what freedom looks like. To me.
He literally said that's what we stand for, that no one dictates what freedom is to others.
He did also say that people would be free to follow their creeds or their chains, I believe, as he put it, but seemed open to a difference in interpretation on what constitutes such.
This is your sect. So I'd like to know what you believe. In the future of Paris, do you think that this is a good idea?
I mean, I wouldn't have offered him the position that I did if I didn't support it. I don't honestly don't even get why you want to talk about this. For me, it seems pretty straightforward. He was down with the plan, and he's down to work together with Francine again, and he's down to work together with all of the sects when this is over. Seems like a pretty straightforward deal to me.
Does that not concern you? How straightforward it is?
No.
With everything that we have been doing?
Yeah. And now we're with the Anarchs. And we work differently.
Lucretia, I know you do not care for the man, and I can understand that. I think we would also do well to remember that as much as we all want to be prepared for what comes next, it really is all about what happens tomorrow
Wow.
night.
Yes.
You must also remember we are not sure if both of these barons will still be here after that time, or indeed if we will. All of these things are hanging in the balance.
You both seem very confident, and in that I shall stand with you. He does speak truth, and I guess I am not quite as used to people speaking so straightforward after all these years. Many people have said yes to my face and tried to stab me in the back.
That says a lot about the kind of people you hang out with.
You're not one of them.
No.
Ah, you wound me. She gives us a very cheeky smile.
Maya will look slightly confused to Remy.
I just want to revel in this moment of strangely simple accord, even if it is brief.
Yes. I fear I may vitae all over the room if I have to bite my tongue much longer. So, if you are happy with the deal, Mael, you may accept as you see fit.
I thought I already accepted it, but yeah, sure.
Yes. Well, I would like to have this discussion, make sure that we're all on the same page.
Let's see what sort of resources he can provide.
Gestures to the door.
Mm-hmm. You make your way back out into the drawing room, and as you do, you wait a little bit, and eventually he comes back in, carrying a glass of his own at this point. As he sees you in the middle again, he says to the two of you, Mael and Remy, "Are you sure I can't get you anything? One for the road, perhaps?"
No, thank you. I do appreciate the generosity.
Of course. Any, outcome to your deliberation?
There wasn't really a double deliberation. Lucretia's just not used to people talking directly.
I'm sorry if I, caught you off guard, madame.
With the sex working together as this, communication is important.
Yes, I
Needed
agree.
to be sure that we were all on the same page.
I assure you I am on the same as yours, it seems, at least. I am in earnest with my, desire to help.
And
Right.
perhaps we should discuss the matter of
The weapons
taking...
factory.
Indeed.
Like I said, I don't have much manpower, and I'm not much of a fighter, but I can divert the attention of the convention, so they may not come and enter the squabble whilst it is happening. Aside from that, I have some people who are aligned with myself who work within it as well. They may help to sabotage those workers within who are of more dubious allegiance. Aside from that, is there anything else you would desire of me that I can do to help? I have money if you need it.
We may need you to be ready very soon to leverage these newfound weapons once we have taken the factory. I believe we can trust you to be prudent with this information, but it is our understanding from recent efforts that Robespierre will return and make an address tomorrow night.
Heard it.
And as such, I think we will find that that is a very eventful occasion. What we need from you is to be able to count on your support when that time comes.
As I said, I have many friends in the convention. It is a large group of people. I can maneuver them in any way you see fit, in a way that is beneficial to you. I can easily, if get our hands on this factory, distribute everything that they've made and make more, as much as we can, for this night and as much of the next as we can hope for, to as many of Francine's people as well as the people from your sect, madame, yours, monsieur, that hope to align themselves with this cause. There will be more than enough if I know the operations of the Fouillon factory well, which I believe I do.
Excellent. Well, we must do our best to minimize damage to those munitions in the process of taking the place.
Indeed. When do you plan on doing so, then? In the limited time we have?
As imminently as possible.
See. I've heard twitterings of Francine loitering about the factory. It will make sense why she is now, based on the description of your party last night, madame. I can get in touch immediately with my allies in the convention and start to make things happen on my end.
Good.
Is there anything else you need from me?
No, I don't think so.
Just one more question then. Mael, if we do this, when we do this, when Robespierre has met with the Hand of Liberty, are you quite confident in us and the new Paris, the new France we spoke about? Do you believe there are others who will wish to grasp that? Will there be a struggle for power after he is gone?
If we continue on as we have and do away with the last few remaining people that could be a problem, every sect so far has agreed to not try to grab power on themselves and claim the city for themselves. And I think, oddly enough, that in this moment, every single one of them spoke truthfully.
That is the thing that gives me hope more than anything else. Us working together, I believe you, and I hope, I dearly hope that you're right. You usually are in your pragmatism.
Right. Oh.
You should be off.
We gotta fight the fight.
I will fight my own. A cog in this machine, if you will. Good evening to you, and good luck.
I think in passing, Maya will kind of give one to give a shoulder tap to him, one to do it with her dominant arm, then be like, oh wait, oh shit, and then take the other arm and just like give a little pat.
Mm-hmm.
No, not swing the other arm.
Thanks, mate.
What's that?
I'll walk out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes sort of... He gives you a nod, smile, Mael. His eyes still linger on Lucretia as the three of you leave. You make your way down back onto the street. At this point, the starry night sky has been covered by a thin sheet of cloud, no longer reflecting on the Seine. Instead, it becomes a lot darker. Only the street lamps, the sort of gassy firelight lamps that are sporadically spread around the streets, especially along the river here, give it a sort of more yellowing, sickly light rather than those of the night sky.
Mael, my dear, what do you think of becoming a baron yourself?
I don't need or want any such position.
Why is that? Many people look to you for support and guidance.
Yeah, well, you can do that without being the one on the top and having to lead them. I don't see myself as a leading figure.
Oh, I disagree.
That's why I say I don't see myself as a leading figure, Lucretia.
I hope that changes. There's a quiet strength to you that I think leadership would suit a great deal. Not to enforce, but simply just to encourage the thought. If anyone were to be working alongside the other sects, I would feel quite confident if you were amongst the representatives for the Anarchs.
We'll see. We should head to Francine.
Of course.
Certainly.
See that she can also help us, and then maybe we can start pulling strings and going to the factory.
Hmm.
We don't really have that much time left.
No.
Now, you head. Where do you take them, Mael? Do you take them to the factory? Or do you take them to where Francine makes her headquarters?
I think I'll take them to where she abides throughout the night. And in making our way there, seeing as we're moving through Anarch territory,
Yeah.
I will use my dots and allies to say that as we walk. I think we're gonna pretty much get ready to take back the factory. So while making our way through the streets, I'll look at people from time to time, like individuals lining the street talking to each other, and just give them a pointed look, catch their glances, give a little nod, in the hopes that they know where to gather, and maybe also head to the place where Francine stays so that we can have a nice little boosting and then have a group of people there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get you to make for me. This will be fun.
Yes, give me a social role, the not social character.
That's such Wild West energy. Love it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Just like walking down the dusty road.
It's like Bridgerton, but the opposite. It's like a Wild Western, but it's the boys are back.
Yeah. It's going to be wits and persuasion to sort of using your
And
wits to
Johnson,
figure out
Alan.
who in the streets is aligned with Francine, who looks like they are, who's wearing the sort of paraphernalia and stuff. It's that sort of like quick thinking and persuasion to communicate with them and have them sort of follow along in their own way.
Adding to the role, any of this applicable? I have status, I have influence, and I have allies in the revolutionaries.
Lord in heaven. Since when? Since when? Where were these?
You've been playing in the Sabat and Camarilla so long.
Yeah, that's
True.
right.
Very true.
It's Anarch time. Add all of every single dot that you have in all three of those. Add a dice to the roll that you're about to make.
Lord.
All right.
You should be a leader. I'm not quite a leader. Rolls 12 dice to persuade the populace to follow you. Lucretia looks into the camera.
Yeah, I have 10 successes and a messy crit.
Ooh.
Do you hear the beat?
Yeah.
Red.
Run, don't walk to the headquarters.
Red.
With 10 successes, firstly, I'm going to ask you, do you want to create a procession of people following you where you're going, or do you want to make it more subtle? Do you want to make it so it's like less obvious?
Um, I want to make it less obvious.
Okay.
I just want it to be impressive when we finally get to the place where Francine is, that there's a lot of people already there.
Yeah, certainly. So you sort of take the long way, making sure you go around the back streets and stuff.
Yeah, your
Communicating
might's
with your...
acting up.
I know it was like flashing.
Yeah.
You go around all of the back streets, getting the attention of everybody in town, probably even bringing along some people who haven't been active members of this movement up until this point, but they're just sort of aligned with others. And you sort of linger back, let them go before you. And with a messy critical, I'm inclined to bring this forward as a dominance compulsion, since you are acting in the semblance of a leader. So you need to make an order and have it followed through with. And any action not taken towards this will be done at a penalty equals to your bane severity. Or, on the other hand, you can take your clan compulsion, which is a little bit more rough. It means you can't speak unless in like one word sentences, grunts, as the beast sort of, this gangrel beast kind of riles up within you and brings out this sort of bestial kind of violent energy within you. I'll let you pick between those two.
Yeah, even though I don't think Mael will talk that much, I will take the dominance one, knowing that I probably won't fulfill it.
That's okay.
But we'll see. I think that's more fitting.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Like her beast urging her to take the leader thing after she literally just said, like, no, I don't want it.
And then you notice how good you are at it and it feels right, and you become sort of kind of instinctually inspired by this in a very base, fundamental way. And your beast eggs you on to sort of take it a step further. And so you'll be under the influence of this compulsion for this scene until the next. As the three of you arrive at Francine's sort of, she runs like a shop front. So this sort of textiles shop, essentially. Reams of fabric and threads and scissors and everything like that. It's very sort of squat in the middle of this sort of Malkavian, I'm sorry, not Malkavian, Anarch territory and such. But when you arrive, eventually, there are people spilling out of the shop, sort of onto the street, sitting, standing, kind of craning their necks to see inside. And you arrive at the end. I'll get Lucretia and Remy to make an intelligence insight roll to see if you actually notice
I wonder how these people got here.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Or whether it's just something that pops up out of nowhere.
Did you say intelligence insight?
That's right. Yep.
The moment we need people, look here, there's people.
3
Wow.
successes.
And Mael, I'll get you to roll I'll get you to roll manipulation. It'll either be stealth or larceny. Up to you.
It's a 2 for Remy with a bestial failure.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I'll use stealth because it seems more logical than larceny at the moment, because being stealthy.
Yep.
Just stealing hearts, that's all.
That's right. That's whether you use your your eyes or your hands to gesture, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a total failure. That's zero success.
This works so well.
Yeah. So both of you got 2 and 3, was it? To success?
I got 3.
Yeah, I do.
Perfect. Yeah, you notice her giving eyes to the people on the streets and them sort of
She never gives eyes to
responding.
anyone. So
Yeah.
her giving eyes to people, it's like, okay, tone it down. Jesus.
If any of the two of you were to look at her, like in any point in time, she'll just shift the eyes and avert your glance.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. Definitely will catch Lucretia's eye at some point in there, though.
Yeah. It's just the most like almost an eye roll of like, yeah, no leadership or
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sort of without exchanging a word between you on this journey, so much is communicated. And when you arrive, you see all these people spilling out onto the streets, and they sort of make way for you, Mael, as they've noticed you. And you three push into the storefront, where Francine is sort of standing on a table, holding the trusty bayonet that she always carries with her, the one that she no doubt stole from some poor unfortunate military man during the Bastille storming or something of that like. But she stands on the table, looking down towards you, Mael, and she says, "My, I haven't seen this many people gathering at my shop for quite some time. Mael, how are you?"
I, I think it's time that we take back the weapons factory.
You are
We have the support.
the support?
All of the anarchs are working together.
Really? You actually got de Galbert on side?
He wasn't that difficult to convince. I mean, in the end, we're all from the same sect. And we all fought for the same beliefs once, why not do it again?
I've been scouting around the factory over the past night ever since we spoke, Mael, at the Palais. There are a lot of people in there. Probably about the same number of people as we have here. They all... I don't know what they're like. I don't know how impassioned they are, how much they want to fight for, where they are, what they're doing, who they're working for, but I do know that Monsieur Francois Henriot is in there constantly, keeping an eye on the place, making sure that everything's running smoothly. It's likely that he'll be here tonight. That's the thing we have to look out for. I don't know whether they're kindred in there. No idea. Only that there are a lot of them, and that he's there, prowling around, looking very pleased with himself.
Is Henriot a name I know, Beck?
Yes.
He's the one you fed on the priests with.
Yeah, that's right. You caught up with
That's
him a few years ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Military, National Guard sort of general, very trigger happy, shall we say. You would know that.
Energetic.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a fellow clans.
Yes,
no.
he is a Toreador. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is as you say, Mael, and you have the Galbert on side, and he will help us in whichever way he sees fit to, how do you want to go about this? I ask you, I ask your group.
Everybody in this room, is it all Canaanites?
Not all.
I'm just thinking like this is so minor. I want to do using Daunt's weird. I want to try and make it so that it's very clear that it's like Francine and Mael are like helming this.
Mm-hmm.
So just enough of like a shifting around as things are happening to get the crowd just enough away from Mael to make it look like the two heads speak.
Yeah, cool. I'll get you to make a dexterity politics roll for me.
Awesome.
Mael at the moment is having the vibe of a wounded soldier coming back from the battlefield saying, "We're gonna win this."
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a glimmer of hope on that battlefield.
I've seen the Elephant Man.
Oh,
I've taken
nice.
down an elder. I can take down a factory.
Ready to fight God.
His name's Robespierre. 4 successes.
4 successes. Yeah, you managed to maneuver her such that she is sort of standing.
Subtly, yeah.
If Francine is standing on the table, Mayella is like directly in front of her, so there's like a level situation to them, and they form like a little semicircle around them, so you can clearly see her. She's like, "How do you want to do this? Stealthy, all guns blazing? It's whatever you think best."
Maya looks awkward in that moment, where Lucretia like made it so that it's all of a sudden like a circle around it. So she kind of like glances left and right, and then looks up at Francine again. You're the one who knows the skills of our people the best. I would think you would know, whether or not stealth or a full-on frontal attack would be best. Although I will say that, well, most likely, if there's humans there, they will probably be able to be convinced. If there's kindred there, they might be convinced or they might be an issue. I mean, that will be the biggest issue, I think, but the God Bear promised that he had people in there working for him that could also take out or handle some of the workers. And Hanryo, I guess we'll see if he has an instinct to survive or not.
He's survived so far, but he's been playing for the winning team for quite some time as well. It's hard to know what his instincts are. I've never had the displeasure of seeing him in action before. If we choose to go in stealthily, there is a greater chance of it going horribly wrong, since there are so many of us. And
Perhaps, if I may,
of course,
a pincer of kinds. One around the back, one down the front. It splits up the numbers so they are not as daunting, and ensures that there is not a single front, then a small unit to handle en Rio.
an ambush then.
Of sorts. There's a lot of gunpowder. Firepower inside that.
What is this
Both
gun?
work.
It's probably gunpowder as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of firepower in there. If it is a single front, they merely need to turn it on that front.
Yeah.
Split a mixture of stealth and forward, and then remove the head at once.
Then we will split into groups. North, south, east, and west seems the most strategically clever, especially since the Fouillon is stationed within a wall.
Mm-hmm.
If we all go in from different angles at different times, we can divide and conquer, so to speak.
Is entry to each point barred?
By gates, though there is one at every point.
This is where the Galbert can come in, have his people on the inside open the gates.
Yes. Quite right.
And de Galbert's people have means of knowing when we're coming. Scurrying critters, rodents, things of that nature. Ways of figuring things out.
He did mention that he would be working with agents both within that operation and elsewhere in the assembly, for example. So I'm assuming he is doing an awful lot of communicating at the moment.
I
And
imagine
I
so.
hope that you fall into that list of communication at this juncture.
Of course. If this is to happen, then I have no doubt at his honesty and his eagerness to dethrone the current tyrant that we see ourselves under. He is suffering as well. And if he is evil, he is the lesser of two. Though I don't think he is. I think he's just akin to a grieving father. At least at the moment.
He wishes to own the factory when all is said and done.
Thought he might say something like that.
Uh-huh.
But he will own it and also work together with you.
This is a conversation I'm willing and happy to have with him after we've dealt with the task at hand. For now, first step of taking this city, this country, this revolution back into our own hands, of creating ripples, of tidal waves, of discontent, of communicating the way that Parisians really feel about everything that's happened here, of finally a sliver, or more accurately, an explosion of honesty in a city of lies.
I'm going to try and hype it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm,
Well
mm-hmm.
said, well said.
Yeah. And the crowd do sort of start to kind of gear into this sort of inspired, very, very similar, Lucretia, Mael, to the way that the women were as they marched all the way to Versailles, middle of the night, to demand the Queen's head in that particular instance. Very similar, Mael, to the storming of the Bastille, the way that they were impassioned, eager to symbolize freedom and honesty and the will of the people at large. How does Remy feel about this sort of thing?
I think Remy is just observing
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. He is, yeah. This entire thing has been sort of outside of his need for influence, so he's just sort of playing the audience
Yeah.
at this point.
Mhm.
Mostly, actually, I would say the dominant feeling is pride
Right.
in Mael. So I
Mhm.
think he'd be watching. It's just kind of watching her be the center of attention like this.
Mhm.
Mael
Just
is
sort of
looking
slightly
up
smiling.
at Mael is looking up at Francine with awe.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think Lucretia's trying to be fuel right now. So as people are getting like, yeah, let's go. She's like, yes, do you want to go to the north or the south? Where do you think Henriot is? She's trying to figure out where Henriot might be and is trying to pick which entry point will get her to him sooner.
Yeah, certainly. I'll get you to make a general charisma. Charisma
Yeah.
plus I'll say etiquette again for you. As
Yeah.
you maneuver through these people, get a sense of their own etiquette, the way that they speak to each other, the way
Yeah.
that they move. And in that case, sort of divvy them up, sort of do the logistics of it through
She's
just
doing the
talking
very
to them.
Nephilim thing of reinventing herself. So she's
Yeah.
here now and she's like, I am the revolutionist. Let's go.
Yep.
I'm the militant general. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Four.
Four. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with four, Mael, from your vantage point, and Remy, you're sort of in this. You sort of see the this huge group of people start to kind of shimmy back and form these sort of clusters of people, north, south, east, and west. The noise in the room rising steadily and steadily, not dissimilar to the way it did during your Elysium, Lucretia.
Yep.
Speaking about similar types of things as well, this immediate need for action, for
Action. And she can give it to them this time.
yeah, that's right. The manifestation, the active physical manifestation of belief in this case.
Yes.
This kind of conglomerate, this mass belief that comes to life through a large amount of people fighting for the same thing. And as
There's a
Francine,
minutia to her actions in just it doesn't change too much, but she is like going between the crowds and she is deliberately using her etiquette and stuff to make sure that the groups are of roughly even size.
yeah.
So she's just been like, no, all my clique and my friends want to hang out in the northern group, and she's like, the representation of fighting from the east of the rising sun or whatever, I don't know, man, it's
Yeah.
belief and it's new and it's fresh. She like breaks the northern group up so that it's a little more. Yeah, that's her small
Yeah, no,
manipulations
for
with
sure.
people.
You've got to tap into people's faith or lack thereof and
Yes.
divvy them up in such a way. Now, Mael, do you want these people to march through the streets very similarly to the Bastille, to the Women's March, or do you want it to be more of a subtle thing for them to sneak by, more in secrecy, not making a big hoo-ha?
That's a difficult one.
Mm.
Mm.
Half and half it.
What?
Half and half it.
You can make noise and you
North
can.
and west, shush shush shush. East and south, loud loud loud.
Shush, shush, shush. Logically speaking, making noise would alarm the place we're going to.
Mhm.
However, I was gonna say Mael isn't that logical.
Everyone's getting mic'd up.
Yeah. I guess she'll just let the noise be, indeed as it used to be in the stormings before. And I guess she's a bit biting her tongue as well, because of that like beast still inside of her urging her to like do something. So she's just like,
Yeah, yep. No worries. This is fine. As Francine sort of jumps down from the table onto the ground and starts moving through the crowd sort of very seamlessly with a lot of grace, actually, speaking to people, patting people on the shoulder, going to the side, handing out weapons to some of the people she knows are very capable with them as well. And she's the one that sort of drags the three of you, really, since you are the ones that instigate this, to the front as you move out of the textiles shop when she makes her place, and out into the streets of southern Paris, moving sort of westward towards where the Fouillon is, over one of these bridges that is crowded with sort of big buildings and people still at this time of night kind of going to and fro about their business. People can't help but look and watch and turn their heads in fear, awe, respect, admiration even for the spectacle that you are causing in this. And it is as you sort of come close to where you need to be, this sort of walled, almost small like fortress, I would say, that makes up the Fouillon's factory. This old medieval monastery that has over time, especially during the revolution in these recent years, been changed and kind of almost has disintegrated into the use in which it is used now. A place of faith turned into a place where weapons of violence are created and manufactured through the machinations of this revolutionary government. And as you approach, with the noise level constantly rising, with Francine growing more and more kind of frantically excited by this, we will pause here and we will pick up with the conglomerate, the amalgamation of all of this next session. I'm Beck. I have been your storyteller for this evening's session. Thank you everybody so much for joining us. And before we head off for this evening, we'll get our lovely group members to introduce each other once more. Let us know what you're doing, where we can find you, what you're up to, and all of that.
Hi, I'm Adam. I've been playing Remy, your Sabat Malkavian with the best seats in the house tonight. You can find the Shakespeare-inspired D&D stream that I run, which is called Bardic Inspiration, at the info below. Thanks.
I'm Jack. I've been playing Madame la Comtesse de Visage, the Camarilla Toreador, who is truly embracing her Nephilim energy tonight. I can be found at Dr. Radiance on things.
And hi, I am Syrinx. I've been playing Mayal Kaju, the gangrel anarch of the group, who spent the evening mostly awestruck at everything and everyone. And you can find me as Syrinx on Twitter and Instagram as such.
Again, thank you everybody so much for joining us. I cannot wait for the climax of this to come forth next session. I hope you all have a lovely day or evening, whatever time it is where you are, and take care.